Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The School of Love. My name is Maria and I am helping people develop their inner potential for love towards oneself and towards the others. So today I invite you to a new episode from the series, How to Do Things, How to Become Things, or How to Be Whatever. And in today's episode I'm offering 10 guidelines on how to develop and control empathy. Empathy is the one half of compassion, the other half being integrity. And the ability to have and to develop and to control empathy is one of those superpowers everyone wants to possess. So in these 10 guidelines, I focus on how to develop and control your empathy, so that in the second step you can develop compassion after you have also developed integrity. So number one, learn what empathy means. Essentially, empathy refers to the ability to see the world from someone else's perspective, or to feel what someone else is feeling, or to put yourself in the proverbial shoes of someone else. Empathy can be either emotional empathy, when you really literally feel what other people or someone else is feeling, or cognitive empathy, when you know what someone else is feeling. Particularly people high in narcissism or other mental emotional disorders, are very good at cognitive empathy, because they cannot emotionally empathize with someone else, but they develop this ability to know what someone else might be feeling in case they do this or that. And then empathy, or cognitive empathy, becomes a very important tool in manipulating the others. So empathy is, particularly emotional empathy, is the ability to feel what someone else is feeling, to see the world from their eyes, and to put yourself in their shoes for a limited period of time. Number two, learn to identify your own emotions, particularly the basic ones. We have 4 basic emotions, a positive one and 3 negative ones. The positive one is joy or happiness. There's a tiny difference between joy and happiness. Joy is more exuberant, while happiness is a little bit moves towards contentment. And then we have 3 negative ones: fear, anger, and sadness. It's very important to learn how to label these emotions, the basic emotions in the first step, and then the secondary emotions, like frustration, disappointment, and and contentment, to try to find the balance between what might be regarded as negative and positive emotions. And it's very, very important to have the ability to develop this ability to label your own emotions, to see, to feel them, to stay with them, to acknowledge them, to embrace them, and to label them. Number 3, now we go to the practical dimension of learning how to develop and control empathy. Number 3 is read novels or short stories, or watch plain but high quality TV shows or animation series. They say that if you want to know what's missing in a society, or what kind of person really is, not what they show you officially and consciously, but who they are beneath the surface of the official persona, look what they are watching, or look what they consuming in terms of cultural consumption in their free time. Because what someone spends their money, their emotions, and their time on, these are the 3 late capitalist commodities: time, money, and emotions. This is what actually that person, this reveals that person's shadow, or in Jungian terms, their Schatten, which is actually what that person tries to hide away, does her or his best to hide away from the public eye. This it does not mean it's necessarily something bad. It could be something like spontaneity and creativity, when these 2 elements were not valued in their family of origin or in the society they're a member of. But it's important to learn how to observe others, regardless whether they are characters in a novel or in a movie show, or in a series. It's important to learn to observe the others. And then, number 4, try to identify with the characters, what they feel, why they act the way they act, and can you understand them? If you were in their place, this is number 5, if you were in their place, could you feel what they feel? And would you do the same as they do, or would you do something else? Why? Important is, so number 4, number 5 is important to remember that there are no wrong or right answers. There are only your answers, your individual answers. You are still in the phase of practicing practicing to develop empathy and then to control it, so that it does not control you and you lose yourself in the others, and then you're emotionally, mentally all over the place, and this is toxic. So number 4 is try to identify with the characters, try to observe what do they feel, why they act the way they act, can you understand them? And then in the next step, try to feel what they feel. Yeah, would you do the same? Would you feel the same in a similar situation? Would you act or would you react the same? Why not? And think really very profoundly from your own perspective. Don't try to rationalize the way, for instance, the writer rationalized, or the director of the movie, or the director of the TV series. It's important that you develop your own emotional compass, so to say, or emotional barometer, which then allows to find a sense of balance between your own emotions and the emotions or the mental states of those around you. Number 6, do this exercise of identifying with your characters and then observing them critically several times with various literary genres or mass media genres, and with various characters and emotions. Important is in the first place the 4 basic emotions I have just mentioned, so joy or happiness, fear, anger, and sadness. And once you have developed the ability to observe this in others, to feel this in others, and to be very self-aware that those emotions are not yours, so don't mix them up with yours. Remember, number 2, you're already on one step further in towards number 7. Learn to enjoy the process of learning how to manage emotions, your own emotions and the emotions of someone else. So do you enjoy it? Do you feel something else beyond those emotions which might belong to someone else? Do you feel, for instance, beyond joy, kind of, just as an example, beyond joy, also insecurity? When you feel sadness, do you also feel what they call schadenfreude? So do you also feel something like, well, they deserved it? Learn to observe your emotions as a result of the interaction with these fictional characters, and then move to number 8, which is have plain conversations with someone you trust. See if you can identify how someone in the real life feels. It's a big step. Move your practice from the fictional world into the real world, and then observe, monitor yourself. How do you feel? Can you develop, can you harness, can you face the same ability you did with the fictional characters? Can you do it with humans in the real world or not? Or is it challenging? Do you feel maybe insecure or silly or ridiculous? Observe yourself. Number 9, learn by observing your own emotions to separate between your emotions and their emotions. This relates to number 2. Learn to separate your emotions from their emotions. Do not allow yourself to get dragged into these oceans of free-floating emotions around us. Depending on the culture you live in, there might be a lot of emotions or almost none, like where I live now in Japan. And it's very important that you build up this porous boundaries which allow for emotions to move freely without overwhelming you, without emotions, your own and emotions of others, take control of you. So this is the last step, is the step of learn to control empathy without isolating yourself from it, without shutting it out, but learn to control it so that it does not control you. Number 10, practice repeatedly until you become a Jedi master in empathy. Empathy is a very, very important skill because it allows you to relate to others on a level which most people cannot attain. They would like to, and some of them think they do this because of the cognitive empathy, but to relate to people on an emotional level, on a deeper level, that is a superpower. And once you acquire it, even if as a beginner, you'll see how the world around you changes. And then the more you develop this or evolve in this in dealing with empathy, and then in controlling it, you'll see that humans relate, people around you, not humans, people around relate differently to you. They just come closer to you and they enjoy your presence. And this is part of a good life, having people around you who enjoy being around you and being able to choose whom you are around yourself. That would be for today. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you back very soon again. Love and peace to you all.